You didn't think it would be prudent to launch a large-scale military operation. What changed your mind, and particularly, why did you opt for the maximum use of force in this situation?
I think what changed my mind was the events that I cited in briefing the American people on this yesterday. The death of the Marine, the brutalizing, really obscene torture of the Navy lieutenant, and the threat of sexual abuse and the terror inflicted on that Navy lieutenant's wife, the declaration of war by Noriega, the fact that our people down there felt that they didn't know where this was going, they weren't sure what all that meant and whether that meant we could guarantee the safety of Americans there. And so I made a decision to move enough force. This was the recommendation of the Pentagon, to be sure that we minimized the loss of life on both sides. And then we took out the PDF, which we did, took it out promptly. And so I would like to think that what I said some time ago still stands. I'm not sure what's left on the ground in terms of people. But what David Hoffman is referring to is that I said our argument was not with the PDF, but with Noriega. And if they would get rid of him and recognize a democratically elected government, we could go back to more normalized relations. We've done that, but we have to see who emerges in the PDF. But I would like to repeat here that we have no continuing axe to grind with the institution of the PDF. Dara's going to need loyal troops who recognize the Constitution and the fairness and the legitimacy of his election.
Mr. President, in light of what you've said about the Indara government getting started, the need for stability, the need for some kind of police action down there, we really are in a kind of an open-ended military occupation now, aren't we, sir?
Well, I wouldn't say it's open-ended, except it's open-ended as far as going after the Noriega, open-ended in terms of the restoration of order in Panama, cleaning up a few elements. Talk about a misnomer, that's it, Dignity Battalion, going after them. PDF units have pretty been rolled up, but we will keep whatever necessary is, the number of forces is necessary there until our military are satisfied and recommend to the president that they be withdrawn. I want them out of there as soon as possible.
President, just to follow up, if I could, sir, in the planning of this operation, surely you must have recognized that these actions would be needed and some force would have to be on the ground there for a while. What estimate did you have as you undertook this operation as to how long it would take?
Brett, no number of day estimate was given to me. I think everyone recognized some of that would depend on when Noriega was brought to justice. Some of that depended on how a restructured PDF behaved. Yeah.
Mr. President, what do you know about Americans held against their will, and what are you doing now to free them?
I'm looking for help on that because we don't have a count, and if there are a lot of them, we don't know about it.
But I just had a briefing on
the Cheney school here.
Sir, there were 12 open cases.
Well, I'll tell you, that included probably those Smithsonian people who have now been released, and I think there may have been 9 or 10 of those. So, but I just have to get Marlon to get back to you.
Well, does that indicate that that's not a priority in the reporting to you?
No, it indicates to me that it's very hard to know what's going on when there's a firefight and a battle, because we heard all kind of rumors. We had calls from your network, your chairman of the board, urging us to go in and take the. No, he did, and I understand it. He had a reporter that producer that he felt was held. We've gone there. That place is secure, I'm told, but I don't know that we can tell him this minute about the life of that individual. But we will keep on going till we can tell him about the life of that individual. There's been an awful lot of interest in the Marriott Hotel, but I'm very pleased to say that it is secure. And we've had heads of corporations, we've had news organizations other than his concerned about their people. And we must be as responsive as we can. Yeah, John.
We're hearing that American troops have surrounded the Cuban and Nicaraguan embassies in Panama City, and that in Managua, the Nicaraguans had retaliated by surrounding our embassy there with their own tanks. Are you hearing the same thing? And
we were told that is not true. Yeah, as of the briefing I just had. Charles.
Mr. President, you've referred to the elected government of Mr. Ndara. As you know, there was never an accurate final count that confirmed that, even though most polls suggested he had probably won by a 3-to-1 margin. In talking with him, or in the future, have you encouraged, or would you encourage him to seek again elections that would verify that he indeed, or whoever, would be a legally elected president?
I would encourage as much as their Constitution calls for. But the election of Ndara was, as you point out, so overwhelming, the vote count so high, that I don't think anybody can suggest somebody else might well have won that election.
Well, Mr. President, what I pointed out was that it was never final and it was never verified. It was stolen,
because
as
it
you
was
point
aborted
out.
by this dictator, Noriega, maximum leader. So decreed 3 days ago, but he was acting like maximum leader before that, thwarting, frustrating the will of the Panamanian people. So I think the international community that oversaw those elections, including a former president of the United States, felt that it went pretty well. Yeah, on the
President, if I can go back to the question...
Then Ellen, excuse me, you go ahead, and then I got to go to...
If I can go back to the question, they say that you anticipated Noriega might escape the initial assault, and so there were plans to go after him. Where are your priorities, sir, in getting Manuel Noriega or in dealing with the Americans who might be held? Because if you get Noriega, the Americans may still be held.
And if we get Noriega, in quite a pretty much likelihood they'll be released, unless somebody wants to use held American as a ticket to get out of town. So we're doing both. We are concentrating every way we possibly can to find Noriega, and that is not drawing down, here's my answer, it is not drawing down on the assets that we have available to safeguard the lives of Americans. They're not mutually exclusive. Ellen?
Sir, why is it that tens of thousands of American fighting men, and with all of our intelligence, we're still unable to catch one bad guy from Panama?
Because intelligence is imperfect, Ellen.
And sir, do we make an effort?
It's good. Sometimes it's certain. Counting numbers, very sure. Intent.